I'm Hayden Covington from Black Hills Information Security, here with Simply Cyber Media Group to talk about the reality of artificial intelligence for blue teams. Every vendor wants to sell you AI for your SOC, but most of the time they are lying to you about how well their tools actually perform or how much work they can do for you autonomously. But that doesn't mean that AI or their tool necessarily is useless. I'm going to be breaking down a few different lies that vendors tell you and the truth behind how those products actually can be made actionable for your team and how to be able to tell the difference between a sales pitch and something that can actually prove useful. The first lie that I'm going to cover is that AI will handle or reduce all of your volume. I've heard it, you've heard it, we've all heard it. The pitch that if you buy this one product, it is the silver bullet. It'll kill all of your alerts, you'll have 160% reduced alert volume, and you can fire your whole team and then move to Hawaii. That is never the reality, and if there's a tool that can do that, I haven't found it yet. The ultimate actual reality is that these tools are going to result in actually more alert volume than previously. They are a new alerting source. They're going to be creating additional alerts on top of your additional stack. It's not like you can turn off all your previous detections just because you've bought ChatGPT AI SOC analyst version. The reality is that there are going to be more alerts that actually need to be triaged, especially potentially right at first when these models are being tuned or being updated to sort of baseline your environment. That is going to result in potentially hundreds, if not thousands, of more rules than previously you would have seen. And you can see that as evidence in all the machine learning detections. Machine learning detections are not a new thing. We've had them for a number of years now, and there's going to be an initial upfront period where the cost is going to be very high. It's going to require a lot of tuning and a lot of specialized attention from your teams in order to even get them to a level of being functional. And AI is no different. AI is just going to be a little bit better than those standardized machine learning detections, but ultimately they're going to rely entirely on the data that comes in. Garbage in, garbage out is going to be a big factor into how well these platforms actually perform. If they're tuned well, they could potentially contribute some volume, but that still does require you to spend a fairly significant amount of time tuning these platforms to actually get them to the point where the volume has been reduced. Because in that upfront period, that volume is going to be high, contributing to actual potentially analyst burnout during those initial tuning periods. So while AI may not be able to process all of your alert volume for you, it could instead process all of the logs or the alerts that your team will never have time to. The best way that I've thought to use these sorts of AI platforms is rather than allowing them to triage our alerts entirely, at least in most situations, I would much rather let it look at the thousands of alerts that I know that our team won't be able to get to. There are plenty of situations where you'll have thousands of potentially low fidelity, low severity alerts that your team will never have a chance to get around to because you're too busy being buried in medium alerts or high severity alerts. Instead, you could put an AI agent on the task of reviewing all of these alerts that are fairly low fidelity and elevating the alerts that are significant to your analyst team. The key point here is in letting AI handle the volume and then escalating to humans for final judgment. AI is excellent at pattern detection, even across millions of events. Humans, not so much. We don't necessarily have the time, patience, or potentially brain power to get through millions of events a day. However, an AI can sit there and plug away for hours and hours and hours on end as long as you can afford the API costs. So instead of allowing those low severity alerts to kind of just burn away and never get looked at, you could enable your team to receive escalated and elevated alerts from this AI agent by reviewing the alerts that you've written but just never have the time to get around to. The next slide that I want to talk about is that automation means your team can all go sit on the beach and drink mojitos instead of working. Sadly, that is not the case, and if there's a product out there that allows that, I clearly have not found it. The reality is, instead of triaging alerts, you are now triaging and debugging this tool. So whereas previously you would have spent a lot of time triaging a lot of manual alerts, you are now managing this tool almost like you're managing an employee, and you're triaging its issues and evaluating its output. So outside of just that initial setup time, that tuning time, which you could potentially think of as mentoring, you are now watching and refining the results, expanding the tool's use cases, and allowing for it to perform more and more efficiently and better than before. But even once you get to the point where this tool is consistently humming and it is doing exactly what you would expect it to do, you still can't take your eyes off of it. You need to watch it and evaluate the results for one specific reason: hallucinations. Security vendors have not magically made hallucinations disappear in AI models. They just haven't. Hallucinations are still a very real real issue. A lot of these products are based around a lot of the same frontline models, and these models have not been able to eliminate hallucinations entirely. There is always the chance that a model will hallucinate or at best be incorrect about something. In these situations, you need to be able to catch those issues before they make their way in front of a customer or into an investigation or somewhere critical that could potentially cause issues if there is incorrect information. So while AI or these various tools may not necessarily allow you to get rid of all of your workload, they will help create slack in your workload that you will be able to potentially expand into more. Let me dig into that a little bit. So as you deploy these AI models or these AI tools, they're going to free you up to an extent as you tune them and as you build them out to take on more and more monotonous or repetitive tasks that are easily automatable. This AI agent or these AI tools are never going to get tired, and as long as they are tuned and deployed efficiently, they will generally produce pretty consistent results. What that means is the more you improve on them, the more output they will be able to produce, meaning the less that you will have to actually process, let's say, SOC alerts. It's going to free you up for more important processes or more important projects. The first of which should be improving those agents further. Think about it. If this agent is doing 10% of your tickets that you necessarily don't need to look at, and it will elevate them to you when you do need to look at them, you should spend some of that time, the time that it saved you, in order to expand this model's capabilities, enrich it better, or in some way provide it an ability to do more of this initial triage. That is going to procedurally steamroll and free you up for more and more time to potentially automate further and further, freeing up more time once you sort of bought yourself a pretty significant amount of time. Where you should then spend your focus is on writing better threat detections. An AI model is only as good as the data that you send into it, meaning if you send in better quality threat reports, better quality threat detections, and better quality, inputs in general, you will ultimately result in having a better output. So being able to tune your detections to send less false positives that you know are false positives to this model, being able to send more alerts for things that maybe you didn't have time to process before, a lot of these things will compound into a finalized product that is going to be significantly better simply because you've bought yourself enough time to finally tackle those naggy detections that you haven't had a chance to get to yet. Quite possibly the biggest lie that we've all heard is that buying this tool will save you. We've all seen the booths at RSA and at Black Hat where if you buy this product, you will be secure and you will never be hacked. They don't actually say that, but a lot of them make a lot of claims that make it seem that way. The reality is that a lot of companies are now struggling with tool sprawl, license bloat, and just alert duplication across numerous platforms because they've bought all these different tools piecemeal that combined should make them the most secure company in the world. The unfortunate reality is that now these security operations centers or other security teams are now stuck with potentially tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in tools that ultimately aren't going to just fix everything like magic. At the end of the day, you still need to have somebody who is manually working the output of these tools. The root of this problem is that tools aren't necessarily going to fix the people or the process issues that exist within your teams. While AI may be able to solve a lot of these problems, like the significant alert volume by reviewing a lot of these low fidelity alerts and elevating them, if you don't have a good process, a good playbook, and good people on your SOC team to actually review these escalations from these agents, you are not going to be able to do your core job well. You need to be able to have these processes built out so that way, once the AI does flag something for review, you have a process set out that allows you to triage it effectively and efficiently. Quite possibly the most important truth out of all of this, and if you get one thing from this video, I want it to be this, is that AI makes good analysts great, but it will not make a bad analyst good. A bad analyst, given access to an AI model, given a ChatGPT account, is not going to magically become an amazing analyst overnight. They may become significantly more proficient overnight until suddenly they're not. An AI is still prone to hallucinations, and an analyst that is not experienced in the subject matter is potentially going to miss these different hallucinations. If an AI model gets stuck and it doesn't know where to continue in the course of an investigation, the inexperienced analysts may not be able to guide it down the right path, or potentially worse, they're going to ask it what it should do next. And the AI model, if already stuck, is potentially going to rabbit hole into who knows what. And then if Claude goes down, your analyst goes down with it. So the key to all of this is that AI in a SOC is all about augmentation, not replacement. The most important key is that force multipliers only work if you have a force to multiply. An experienced analyst, given access to an AI and given the proper context is going to become a 10x analyst. They're now going to be able to do significantly more and significantly quicker than they ever could before. Here's something that we do at the Black Hills SOC. When our alerts come in and they're assigned to a case, we have our AI agent generate an executive summary of this case, summarizing the different alerts that are assigned to it, and then providing an overview of what happened, when, some useful context potentially, and then some suggestions about what to investigate next. What this often results in is that the analyst shows up to work this case, and they are no longer starting from zero. They're starting from a point almost like they've been escalated to by a more junior analyst. They need to validate this analyst's findings in the form of this executive summary, but they're not starting from a blank slate. They have an idea about what is probably going on. They have an idea of some things that might be useful, and then they have some suggestions about how to continue this investigation. That in some cases is going to save a significant amount of time. I have another really good example, specifically around detection engineering. Detection engineering is something that I enjoy quite a lot, but one of the hardest parts for me is the blank slate of VS Code. When you start out a paper or a detection, it is always going to be hard to take that first step. So one thing that I found that's been pretty useful is when a new threat report comes out, I will send this over to a model that I've created and curated that will generate the first draft of a new threat detection. So once I find this threat report, I send it to this model and it starts churning away and starts processing. And then by the time I come look back at it, it has for me a pretty okay draft. It's not usually perfect and it's not usually functional in a lot of cases, but what it does do is it does identify correctly most of the time which MITRE tactics are associated with this alert. It does form the basis of a detection template, and it does give me some suggestions around a starting point of how I should write this detection. So ultimately, that has saved me probably 20 to 30 minutes of templating, of looking up MITRE tactics, of, adding in different links to our documentation pieces. And 20 to 30 minutes may not sound like a lot, but if you multiply that by several detections a week, that is going to add up very, very quickly. So I said it once shortly ago, but I'll say it again now, is that force multipliers will only work if you have a force to multiply. The key to using AI in your SOC is to train your humans first and then give them access to AI tools. If you provide these AI tools to inexperienced analysts, they're not going to recognize hallucinations and they're going to make the mistakes of an inexperienced analyst. And who can really blame them? If you expect them to trust this magic box that's going to tell them everything that they need to do, who are they to know when the magic box is wrong? But instead, if you train them properly, you make them research and learn about all these topics, they will be able to recognize when AI is incorrect, or even better, correctly prompt these AI in the directions that it needs to go in order to get a better output. To summarize all of these truths and lies is to say that AI is not magic and it won't fix broken foundations. The same pattern across all of these is that they all share the same flaw. They treat AI as a replacement instead of as a tool. AI is not going to replace your security team, at least not yet. It will augment them and it will give them the ability to do significantly more work and significantly quicker, but it is not going to replace them. You still need a well-trained human to validate and to vet the results of these models. The path forward is simple. In order to fully take advantage of even these expensive AI products, is you first need to fix your foundation. Fix your detection logic, tune your detections, expand your coverage. With better detection logic and better alerts comes better results from these AI products. Document your processes. AI can pull on process documentation, so now is the perfect time to go update all of your documentation and explain how you should perform these processes. And then finally, the most important is train your team first. Before you hand an AI model to your inexperienced analysts, ensure that they understand the basics. Ensure that they can recognize hallucinations and guide these AI and prompt them efficiently with correct and accurate information. Then and only then will AI in the hands of your analysts become a true force multiplier. My final thought on this matter is that the best SOCs aren't really the ones that use the most AI. They're the ones that know how to use it and when to instead trust human judgment. Human in the loop is a very important concept, and if you're unfamiliar with the term, it's about ensuring that a human remains in the process during important decisions. And any SOC worth their salt is still going to ensure that a human is within the loop within their most critical processes. There are not many SOCs that I would imagine are trusting their triage entirely to AI, despite all of the vendor claims that you might hear. If you want to learn more about how to pick up on the basics, how to learn how to write detections, how to investigate SOC alerts, I have some trainings on anti-siphon training. I have Foundations of Security Operations and a detection engineering workshop. Cover a lot of those basics, and then also cover how to use AI to make those jobs a little bit easier. That is all for today. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm Hayden Covington from Black Hills Information Security here with Simply Cyber Media Group. Now, Go fix your foundations and train your teams before you buy another ChatGPT wrapper.